Have you ever felt the sting of someone you care about pulling away, leaving you in silence? One moment they're close, attentive, and seem invested. The next, it's like you've become invisible, their presence replaced by cold distance. You sit there replaying every interaction in your mind, questioning what you did wrong, obsessing over their silence, hoping for a sign, but nothing comes. It's as if the harder you try to pull them back, the further they slip away, like trying to hold onto water. Let me ask you this. Why do we allow others to dictate our emotional stability? Why do we give them the power to control how we see ourselves? In moments of rejection or distance, it's easy to feel desperate, but Stoicism teaches us a vital truth. We cannot control what others do, only how we respond. That response, when guided by wisdom and self-awareness, can turn even the most painful situations into an opportunity for growth and transformation. In this guide, I'll show you 7 powerful steps rooted in timeless Stoic principles that will help you reclaim your power, protect your peace, and shift the dynamic in your favor. These aren't tricks or games, they're strategies for cultivating inner strength, confidence, and clarity. By the time we reach the final step, you'll have the tools to leave behind the pain of chasing someone and rise as a version of yourself they can't ignore. Stay with me to the end, because the most transformative step awaits there. And as we begin this journey, remember one thing: you are the prize, and it's time to start living like it. 1. Forge inner resilience. When they pull away, what's the first thing you feel? Is it panic, despair, an urge to chase after them, to fix whatever has gone wrong? These feelings are natural, but Stoicism reminds us it's not what happens to us, but how we react to it that matters. Instead of falling into the trap of seeking their validation, this is your moment to turn inward and build something unshakable: your inner resilience. What does it mean to forge resilience? It means transforming your focus from what you've lost to what you can gain. It's about creating strength so profound that someone else's actions no longer dictate your peace. Picture a storm at sea. The waves crash violently, yet deep beneath the surface, the ocean remains calm and steady. You must become like the depths of that ocean, unaffected by the turbulence above. Start by asking yourself this: who am I when no one is watching? Often, when we invest so much energy into someone else, we lose sight of our own value. Now is the time to rediscover it. Stop obsessing over their silence and start asking yourself meaningful questions. What have I neglected in my own life while giving so much to them? What can I do today to feel stronger tomorrow? How can I make myself the best version of me, regardless of whether they come back? Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. Their decision to distance themselves is an outside event. Your thoughts and actions in response. That's where your true power lies. Take this moment to invest in yourself. Start a new habit. Maybe it's hitting the gym, taking up meditation, learning a skill you've always wanted to master, or reconnecting with friends and passions that make you feel alive. Every time you choose to prioritize your growth, you're not just moving on from them, you're building the foundation for a life that's centered on you, not someone else's opinion of you. But let's be honest, this isn't easy. It's uncomfortable to face the silence they've left behind. It's tempting to fill that void with desperate attempts to bring them back. Yet, Stoicism challenges us to embrace discomfort as a path to growth. Epictetus taught, difficulties are things that show a person what they are. This distance they've created is your difficulty and your opportunity. Imagine how it will feel when their absence no longer rattles you. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing someone who radiates confidence, independence, and self-worth. Imagine reaching a point where their behavior no longer defines your happiness. This isn't about loving them less, it's about loving yourself more. So take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I building the kind of inner strength that no one can take away? This is where it begins. When you forge resilience, you create an armor so strong that their distance can no longer wound you. And the best part, the stronger you become, the more magnetic your energy becomes. They'll notice. They always do. Ready to take the next step? Let's move forward and learn how to leave desperation behind, burying it so deeply that it never takes your power again. Stay with me. The transformation has only just begun. 2. Bury the desperation. When someone distances themselves from you, what is your first instinct? Is it to chase them, to send another message, to overanalyze their behavior? That rush of desperation, the sinking feeling in your chest, the anxious thoughts racing through your mind, is your greatest enemy. Why? Because it hands them all the power. Stoicism teaches us to reclaim that power by mastering our responses, not reacting impulsively. Desperation isn't attractive. Think about it. When someone chases too hard, clinging for attention, what's your natural reaction? You pull away. It's human nature. Marcus Aurelius said it best. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Desperation lowers the quality of your thoughts, dragging you into a spiral of self-doubt and anxiety. You cannot let it control you. Let's get brutally honest here. When you feel the urge to send that text or to check their social media for clues, ask yourself, what am I hoping to achieve? Do you believe one more message will change how they feel? That somehow, if you explain yourself enough, they'll snap back into attention? Or is it really about soothing your own discomfort, filling the emptiness their distance has created? Desperation disguises itself as love, but often it's a need to escape the fear of rejection. Here's the truth you must face. The more you chase, the more they'll run. When they feel your neediness, it reinforces their distance. They see you as someone who values them more than yourself. But what happens if you do the opposite? If you stop chasing and start pulling back, burying the desperation so deeply it's like it never existed? Desperation doesn't disappear overnight, but you can learn to mask it and eventually replace it with strength. How? By practicing restraint. When you feel the urge to reach out or react, pause. Take a breath. Remind yourself that your value doesn't depend on their response. The moment you bury desperation, you begin to shift the dynamic. They will notice when the person who once chased them stops. Think of it like this. Desperation is like an overeager salesperson who won't leave you alone. They follow you, insist you take their product, push for your attention until you can't take it anymore. What do? You walk away. Now, imagine instead someone who's calm, confident, and lets their presence speak for itself. You're intrigued. You approach them because they exude self-respect and certainty. That's the energy you must embody. Let me ask you, do you want them to value you, or do you want them to pity your neediness? The answer is clear. To be valued, you must show them that your self-worth is not tied to their attention. Seneca reminds us, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Craving their attention makes you emotionally poor, but burying that craving allows you to stand tall, rich with self-assurance. And here's the best part. When you stop chasing, they begin to wonder, why aren't you reacting? Why aren't you clinging? What has changed? People notice confidence. They notice when someone who once gave them everything suddenly becomes distant. That shift will plant seeds of curiosity in their mind. And that's where the power lies, not in desperate pursuit, but in quiet strength. So what will you do the next time you feel the pull of desperation? Will you give in, or will you bury it beneath the stoic strength you're cultivating? Imagine how powerful it will feel to let go of that neediness, to look at yourself and see someone who is calm, in control, and emotionally untouchable. Right now, I want you to take action. In the comments below, share one thing you'll do to bury desperation. Is it taking a deep breath before reacting? Turning your energy toward a new hobby or goal? Reminding yourself that you are enough, with or without them? Let me know, and let others know that you're committed to reclaiming your power. If you're finding this message resonates, give this video a like. Not for me, but for yourself. A way to affirm that you're ready to step into your strength and leave desperation behind. Stay with me, because the next step will reveal how you can transform the silence they've created into your greatest weapon. Let's keep moving forward together. 3. Summon the power of mystery. Have you ever noticed how much more intriguing a story becomes when you don't know how it ends? When there are gaps left unfilled, your mind works tirelessly to uncover the answers, to piece together the mystery. This same principle applies to relationships. When you are an open book, laying all your emotions, actions, and thoughts bare, you remove the element of curiosity. But when you summon the power of mystery, you become an enigma, someone they can't quite figure out but desperately want to understand. Why is mystery so powerful? Because it ignites curiosity, and curiosity drives attention. When someone distances themselves, it's tempting to over-explain your feelings or try to bridge the gap with constant communication. But Stoicism reminds us to hold back, to resist that impulse, and instead to create space. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. By reacting with silence and subtlety, you shift the dynamic, pulling them into a place of wonder and uncertainty. Let's be clear. Summoning mystery isn't about playing games or manipulating someone. It's about stepping back, cultivating your own life, and allowing them to notice the spaces you leave behind. I think about the last time someone was suddenly less available to you. Didn't you wonder why? Didn't you start paying closer attention, searching for clues? That's the effect of mystery. It creates a pull without you having to push. Here's how you summon the power of mystery. First, stop broadcasting every aspect of your life. If you're used to oversharing, whether it's through texts, calls, or social media, pull back. Let them wonder what you're doing instead of handing them the answer. Post less, and when you do, make it meaningful. Leave them with questions, not conclusions. Second, resist the urge to explain yourself. When someone distances themselves, the natural reaction is to over-communicate. Did I do something wrong? Can we talk about this? Instead, say less. The less you explain, the more they'll wonder. They'll fill in the blanks with their own thoughts, and often, those thoughts are far more impactful than anything you could say. Finally, focus on building a life that feels full and satisfying to you, not as a way to impress them, but because you deserve it. When they see you thriving without their attention, it will spark curiosity. Why aren't you chasing? What's going on in your world that's keeping you so busy? This shift in focus makes you magnetic, not because you're trying to be, but because you're genuinely engaged in your own growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In this context, stop trying to convince them of your worth through words or gestures. Live your worth. Show them that your life continues vibrant and fulfilling with or without their validation. Here's the beauty of mystery. It shifts the burden of attention back to them. Suddenly, you're no longer the one seeking answers they are. When they begin to wonder about you, their focus returns naturally. It's not forced, it's a result of the space you've created. But here's the secret. By the time they notice, you've already built something far more valuable, your own peace and self-respect. Mystery also offers you a gift, time and distance to reflect. While they're busy filling in the blanks, you can examine your own feelings. Are they someone you truly want in your life, or has their distance revealed something deeper? Sometimes when we step back, we realize the pursuit wasn't about love, but about fear of loss. Mystery doesn't just intrigue them, it clarifies things for you. So what will it feel like to live in this new energy? Imagine them scrolling through their phone, realizing you haven't reached out. Imagine them seeing glimpses of your life, stronger, brighter, and more focused than before, but never the full picture. They'll wonder, and that wonder will bring them closer. But by then, you may find you've already moved beyond needing their attention. Let them chase the mystery. Let them sit in the space you've created, filling it with their own curiosity. And as they do, you'll find yourself more grounded, more confident, and more aligned with the life you're building for yourself. From this place of strength, you'll be ready for the next step, disappearing into silence, not as a retreat, but as a bold declaration of your value. Let's explore that next. 4. Disappear into silence. When someone distances themselves from you, the silence they create can feel unbearable. It's natural to want to fill that void, to reach out, to explain, to try to bridge the gap. But Stoicism teaches us a powerful lesson. Sometimes the most impactful response is no response at all. To disappear into silence is not to surrender. It is to reclaim your energy, protect your peace, and shift the dynamic entirely. Silence is a tool of immense power. It is not passive, nor is it weak. When used intentionally, silence can communicate strength, resilience, and self-worth far more effectively than words ever could. Think of silence not as an absence, but as a presence, a declaration that you will not beg for attention or validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." By choosing silence, you assert control over what is yours, your reaction. What happens when you disappear into silence? First, you remove the emotional fuel that drives their distancing behavior. When someone feels they can ignore you without consequence, that you'll always be there, waiting, they have no reason to reflect on their actions. But silence disrupts this dynamic. It creates a void that forces them to notice your absence and question what it means. Imagine this: you stop texting, you stop calling, you stop explaining yourself. Suddenly, they no longer have the comfort of your attention. They're left with their own thoughts, and those thoughts often turn to questions. Why aren't they reaching out? Have they moved on? Did I misjudge their feelings? This is the power of silence. It forces reflection, not just for them, but for you. Silence also gives you space to heal and grow. When you're no longer pouring your energy into someone who isn't reciprocating, you can redirect that energy inward. What could you accomplish if you stopped checking your phone every few minutes? What passions could you reignite if you weren't fixated on their absence? Silence allows you to shift from reacting to creating, to build a life so fulfilling that their distance no longer defines your happiness. But let's be honest, disappearing into silence isn't easy. It requires discipline and courage. The urge to break the silence will come, especially in moments of vulnerability. You'll wonder if they're thinking about you, if they've moved on, if your silence is making things worse. This is where Stoicism becomes your guide. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Your silence is not about punishing them, it's about protecting you. How do you disappear into silence effectively? First, set clear boundaries for yourself. Decide that you will not reach out, no matter how strong the impulse. If you need to, temporarily mute their social media or avoid situations that might trigger you. This isn't avoidance, it's self-care. Next, channel your energy into something meaningful. Start a project you've been putting off. Spend time with friends who uplift you. Explore hobbies that bring you joy. The more engaged you are with your own life, the less space there is for thoughts of them to consume you. This isn't about distraction, it's about realignment. You're not ignoring their absence, you're filling your life with presence. Finally, trust the process. Silence works not because it's manipulative, but because it's honest. It says, I value myself enough to step back from anything that doesn't value me in return. If they choose to return, it will be because they've felt the weight of your absence and recognized your worth. And if they don't, then your silence has done something even more important. It has cleared space for people and experiences that align with your growth. Picture this. They scroll through their messages, realizing there's nothing from you. They check your social media, finding no clues about what you're thinking or feeling. They hear about you thriving through mutual friends. Your silence becomes impossible to ignore, not because it's loud, but because it's undeniable. And in that silence, they see what they've lost. The beauty of disappearing into silence is that it isn't just about them, it's about you. It's about proving to yourself that you can hold your ground, that you can find peace in the quiet. It's about showing yourself that your value doesn't depend on someone else's attention. So as you disappear into silence, remember this. It's not an ending. It's a beginning. A beginning of self-discovery, self-respect, and self-reliance. And when you emerge from that silence, you'll find yourself stronger, clearer, and ready for whatever comes next. Let's move forward now into the next step, flipping the script without words. Here, we'll explore how to let your actions, not your explanations, speak for you. The transformation continues. 5. Flip the script without words. What if I told you that you could completely shift the dynamic with someone who is ignoring you without saying a single word? It sounds almost too simple, doesn't it? But Stoicism reminds us of this fundamental truth. Actions speak louder than words. When someone distances themselves, you don't need to chase after them with explanations, apologies, or emotional appeals. Instead, you can flip the script by letting your actions silently communicate a message they can't ignore. I'm in control of my life. Here's the beauty of this step. It's not about playing games or trying to manipulate the situation. It's about showing, not telling, that you've stepped into your own power. Think about it. When someone expects you to react with desperation or sadness, and instead you respond with calm confidence, it catches them off guard. They begin to notice the shift. They wonder why you're not reacting as they thought you would. This curiosity is powerful, and it works in your favor. So how do you flip the script without words? The first step is to become unavailable. If they've grown used to you always being there, always responding, always seeking their attention, it's time to pull back. Don't be so quick to answer their messages. Let calls go unanswered sometimes. This isn't about being petty, it's about breaking the pattern of predictability. When you stop being readily accessible, it forces them to realize the absence of your energy. Next, redirect your focus to yourself and the things that matter most to you. Start doing the things you love and let it show. Share your growth, your happiness, and your achievements, not to impress them, but to remind yourself of your value. Post a picture of that trip you've been planning. Celebrate a personal win, or simply radiate confidence in the way you carry yourself. Your actions will naturally spark their curiosity. They'll begin to wonder what's changed. Why aren't they chasing me anymore? Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In this context, stop explaining your worth. Stop trying to convince them to see what you bring to the table. Instead, embody it. Be so engaged with your own growth and happiness that they can't help but notice. And if they don't, well, then you've already won by investing in the one person who will always matter most, you. The most fascinating part of flipping the script is how your silence combined with visible growth speaks louder than any words ever could. Imagine the impact of them seeing you out in the world, thriving, smiling, moving forward without a trace of desperation. It sends a clear message. I am not waiting for you. I am living my life. That energy is magnetic, and it has a way of drawing people back in. But flipping the script isn't just about how they perceive you. It's about how you perceive yourself. This step allows you to see your own strength in action. It's a reminder that you don't need anyone else's validation to feel whole. That realization is priceless. It shifts your focus away from what you've lost and toward what you're building. A life centered on growth, resilience, and joy. Let me ask you this. How does it feel to imagine yourself in this position of strength? Picture them noticing your transformation, feeling the absence of your old patterns, and questioning what's changed. Now picture yourself realizing that their reaction no longer defines your worth. That's the real power of flipping the script. Not that they'll come back to you, but that you'll no longer need them to. So let's take a moment to reflect. What's one action you can take today to begin flipping the script? Maybe it's setting a boundary, pursuing a goal, or simply choosing not to respond to their silence. Share it in the comments below, and let's inspire each other to take bold steps forward. If this resonates with you, let's keep this energy going. Give this video a like to affirm that you're ready to flip the script and take back your power. Stay with me, because the next step will deepen your transformation by showing you how to armor your emotions, making you untouchable. Let's continue this journey together. 6. Embrace emotional armor. When someone distances themselves, the emotional wounds can cut deep. Every unanswered text, every ignored call, every silent moment can feel like a personal rejection, chipping away at your confidence and peace. But Stoicism teaches us an essential truth. We do not have to allow external actions to hurt us. By embracing emotional armor, you protect your inner self from unnecessary pain and stand firm in the face of indifference. What is emotional armor? It's the ability to shield yourself from the emotional impact of someone else's behavior. It doesn't mean shutting down or becoming cold. It means learning to separate your self-worth from their actions. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Emotional armor is that revocation, the conscious decision to stop letting their behavior define how you feel. Imagine their silence as arrows fired in your direction. Without emotional armor, each one hits its mark, leaving you wounded and questioning your value. But with armor, the arrows bounce harmlessly off. You remain whole, unshaken, and in control. That's the power of emotional resilience. It allows you to stand tall even when the world tries to bring you down. How do you embrace this armor? Start by recognizing that their actions are a reflection of them, not you. Their decision to pull away may be rooted in their own fears, insecurities, or distractions. It's not always about something you did or didn't do. When you internalize this truth, you take the first step toward emotional freedom. Next, focus on what you can control: your reactions. When they ignore you, resist the urge to spiral into overthinking. Instead of asking, "Why are they doing this to me?" shift your perspective. What does this teach me about myself? Each moment of silence from them is an opportunity to practice emotional discipline. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you but how you react to it that matters." Let their behavior be a reminder to strengthen your inner resolve, not a reason to break it. Another essential aspect of emotional armor is setting boundaries, not just with them, but with yourself. For example, if you know that checking their social media or rereading old messages will hurt you, commit to stopping. Boundaries protect your peace and reinforce your strength. Every time you honor those boundaries, you prove to yourself that you are capable of choosing your well-being over fleeting impulses. Building emotional armor also requires cultivating self-respect. Ask yourself, am I allowing someone else's actions to dictate my happiness? If the answer is yes, it's time to reclaim that power. Your happiness is yours to create, and no one has the right to take it from you. By valuing your own peace and refusing to let their behavior affect you, you become untouchable. But emotional armor isn't just about defense, it's also about growth. When you stop reacting to their actions, you create space to focus on what truly matters: your own journey. What could you achieve if you redirected the energy you've been spending on them toward your own goals? What passions could you reignite if you stopped letting their silence consume your thoughts? Emotional armor doesn't just protect you, it empowers you to thrive. Picture this: they ignore you, expecting you to crumble, but instead you remain calm and composed. They see that their actions no longer affect you as they once did. This shift will not only surprise them but also elevate your self-perception. You are no longer at the mercy of their behavior. You are free, strong, and centered. In the end, emotional armor is not about avoiding pain entirely, it's about transforming it. Pain becomes a teacher, silence becomes an opportunity, and rejection becomes redirection. When you embrace this armor, you no longer fear what they might do or say. You stand firmly in your power, knowing that your peace is yours to protect. As you move forward, let this principle guide you. Nothing they do can touch you unless you allow it. Emotional armor is your greatest shield, and it ensures that you remain grounded regardless of their behavior. From this place of strength, we move to the final step, letting them chase shadows. Here you'll learn how to take your power to the next level, creating a dynamic so compelling that they'll be left questioning everything. Let's continue. 7. Let them chase shadows. Imagine this. They look for you, but you're not where they expect. They check their phone, but there's no message from you. They scroll through social media, hoping for a glimpse of your life, but all they find are traces, fragments of who you are, enough to spark curiosity, but never enough to satisfy it. This is what it means to let them chase shadows. When someone distances themselves from you, they often assume that you'll stay in the same place emotionally, waiting, hoping, lingering in their absence. Stoicism, however, teaches a different response. You move forward, not backward. You don't just let go, you create a life so full and radiant that they're left chasing the shadow of who you used to be, while you step boldly into the light of your transformation. What does this look like in practice? It begins with disappearing, not out of anger or spite, but as an act of self-preservation and empowerment. You remove yourself from the dynamics that drained you, no longer offering them easy access to your attention. In this space of absence, they begin to notice the void you've left. They start to wonder, where are they? What changed? Have they moved on? These questions are powerful, and they create a sense of urgency for them that no amount of chasing from you ever could. Letting them chase shadows is not about manipulation, it's about focus. Instead of giving them the power to dictate your emotions, you turn your energy inward. You stop reacting to their distance and start building the version of yourself you've always wanted to be. This is your time to thrive, to pour your energy into your passions, goals, and relationships that uplift you. Picture this. You've taken a step back, and now you're creating a life that's vibrant and fulfilling. You're achieving things that matter to you, connecting with people who value you, and sharing moments of joy and success, not to impress them, but because you're genuinely living your best life. The old you, the one who waited by the phone, who analyzed their every move, is gone. In its place stands someone who is confident, resilient, and magnetic. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you constantly think of yourself as someone waiting for their attention, you will live in that shadow. But if you begin to think of yourself as the prize, as someone whose life is too valuable to waste on indifference, you will create a reality that reflects that belief. And here's the irony. When you shift your focus away from them and onto yourself, they often can't help but notice. Why does this work? Because people are drawn to what they can't fully grasp. When you're no longer readily available, when your presence is no longer guaranteed, it creates a sense of intrigue. They begin to wonder, why aren't they chasing me? What's going on in their life that I don't know about? Have they found someone else? This curiosity is the shadow you leave behind, a reminder of the energy you once offered, now out of reach. But here's the most important part. Letting them chase shadows is not about whether they come back. It's about reclaiming your power. You're no longer living for their approval. You're living for your own growth and happiness. If they return, it will be on your terms, and only if it aligns with the strong, self-assured person you've become. And if they don't, then their absence has created space for someone who truly values you. I think of this step as the culmination of all the work you've done so far. You've forged resilience, buried desperation, summoned mystery, disappeared into silence, flipped the script, and armored your emotions. Letting them chase shadows is the natural result of this transformation. It's not about revenge or proving a point. It's about creating a life so rich and fulfilling that their distance becomes irrelevant. Now reflect on this. What will they see when they look for you? Will they see someone unchanged, still waiting? Or will they see the shadow of who you used to be, while the real you moves boldly forward, untouchable and unstoppable? Let them chase shadows, but don't stop for them. Keep growing, keep thriving, and let their curiosity fuel their own reflection. And as you step into this new version of yourself, remember the words of Epictetus. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. You've done the work. You've taken the steps. Now live the life you've built. This is your moment to rise above their indifference and embrace the strength you've always had within you. You are the prize, and it's time they and the world see it. You've reached the end of this journey, but the transformation is just beginning. Let's reflect on where you started. Someone dealing with the sting of distance, silence, and the feeling of being ignored. It's a painful place to be, and one that many of us know all too well. But now you hold the keys to rising above it, not through manipulation or games, but by reclaiming your power, realigning with your values, and focusing on what truly matters. Yourself. These steps are not quick fixes, they're a mindset shift, a practice rooted in Stoicism and self-respect. Each step builds on the last, not just to change how they see you, but to change how you see yourself. And that's the real win here. Whether they return or not, you've already gained something far greater. Independence, confidence, and the ability to thrive regardless of their actions. As you move forward, remember, this isn't about punishing them or proving a point. It's about aligning with your highest self. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we can truly control is our own response to life's challenges. Their distance, their silence, their choices, these are not yours to control, but your reaction. That's where your power lies. So what will you do with this power? Will you stay rooted in old patterns of chasing and pleasing, or will you rise to meet the challenge, stepping boldly into the life you deserve? The choice is yours, and you've already taken the first steps towards something extraordinary. If this journey resonated with you, I invite you to share your reflections in the comments. What part of this process spoke to you the most? Which step are you ready to embrace today? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you found value in this guide, consider liking this video and subscribing to stay connected. This is just the beginning of your transformation, and together we can continue exploring how Stoicism and self-mastery can empower you in every aspect of your life. Thank you for being here and for investing in your growth. Remember, you are the prize, and your life is far too valuable to waste on anything less than the respect, love, and connection you deserve. Until next time, stay strong, stay centered, and keep moving forward. You've got this.